to the channel. My name is Crawford and this is Virginia's for Lowriders. We are officially on the very, very edge of having a remote chance of getting this delivered to North Carolina next weekend. Next Thursday night, Friday morning. I don't even have an entire week. We are talking 6 days tops. And in that 6 days, I still got to get a lot of stuff done just to be able to bring it with me to North Carolina. And what I'm talking about is the Caprice that we've been building for the last couple months. If you haven't been here before, we have been body dropping this. We are laying pinch weld in an 80s box Chevy. They've done a lot. Freshened up all the suspension, built new control arms, new bearings, brakes, bushings, ball joints, cylinders. We eliminated the heater core box. We're tucking wires. We're eliminating a whole lot of unnecessary wires. This week, I have been coming out here every day and working for hours every day. When we left off last week, I had a massive ball of wires that were kind of thrown in the middle of the car. I still got a massive ball of wires, but they're not thrown in the middle of the car anymore. They're somewhat attached. I still have to figure out where some of them go. Because again, we're deleting stuff. We're deleting the heater core box. We're deleting the AC. We don't even care if the radio works. I just want to be able to drive the car. I don't care if the dashboard makes it back into the car, but it probably will, at least the shell of it. But we got a lot of work to do. This is where we're at. Steering column is sitting in the car. I've been coming through, cleaning up the harness, running the harness all along the firewall. This is what I got left. I got to come in here and fix these wires that I had melted at some point. I spliced all these wires back in on both sides because I had to cut them in order to do the body drop, because all of this stuff is kind of hardwired unless you go through and take apart the extremely delicate, crappy stuff from the 80s. It's been a lot. It's been a long week. And it doesn't even look like I got anything done. But the steering column is sort of bolted in. So that's progress, right? Wiring sort of close to done. Progress. What we need to do by the end of this weekend, we have to do, the radiator needs to be in, coolant needs to be in the engine, I need to put power steering fluid in it, I need to hook up the trans lines, I need to mount the electric fan to the radiator, I need to have the steering hooked up, I have to relocate the throttle cable inlet hole that goes into the cabin of the car, I have to modify the steering linkage. So the steering linkage comes to the firewall, and on the end of it has the shifter for the transmission. I need to modify that to make all of that work. There's a lot to do. I left off last weekend saying I don't think I'm going to make a shroud for the fan. And what I meant by that, this is the massive electric fan that I bought for the car. This pulls way more CFM than a factory mechanical fan. Everything that I could find online said that this is about 600 or 700 more CFM than the mechanical fan that came on the car. And the reason I don't think I'm going to build a shroud is that plastic shroud that came from the factory is what holds the radiator in the car. It's huge. I'm going to leave it in there because I think it's going to look weird with a giant gap in between. But this fan covers the entire center of the radiator. So the only thing I have is on the sides. I'm still working it out. I gotta pick and choose my time here. So I don't think it's necessarily worth the investment and time in making this work. Because again, this is going to cool the car significantly more than that mechanical fan ever did, even if there's no shroud. Basically, I'm trying to talk myself out of building a shroud, even though I want to build a shroud, but I'm running out of time. So what I think we're going to do is just do the ADD thing. We're going to let that take the wheel, and we're going to bounce around and try to come up with just getting stuff done. If you've never been here before, there's a ton of videos on this already. There's 60 some odd videos of my body drop Mazda build that we did completely from scratch on the channel. There's a Ranger build and a bunch of other stuff. So please subscribe, would be much appreciated. And we're just going to get into doing the work and trying to document some of it since I've been trying to get stuff knocked out and haven't talked to the camera. So let's just get after it. Go ahead, get the wheel somewhat sort of straight here. That looks good, right? Semi-straight, even though it's never been straight since I've owned this. We are going to attempt to attach this Jeep steering shaft to this Chevrolet. A lot of people talk about it online and say that it fits. I know that it fits the gearbox side. I don't know if it fits the car side yet. I think I'm going to have to knock out the weld that's on this and extend it. But I'm not positive because it looks short. It is fully extended right now. Helps if I put it on there the right way. It is very, very short. So we're gonna have to figure out how to make this longer because we are missing this entire piece here, so about an inch short. All right, I messed with it for a little while off camera, and I think I only need maybe a half an inch. It's pretty close. Once I got this thing to actually go all the way out. If you look here, it's crimped. I think that if I just slice this crimp off, it feels like when it compresses, it feels like it goes all the way back here. So I hope it goes all the way back there and it's that long. And we're just gonna cut a little ring off of this and see what it looks like extended. I don't think it would really matter if it had the stop. There would be no way for it to fall out because it's too long, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna put it in there, or I'm gonna cut it and then put it in there and see what we got. I actually have a subscriber that, well, I should say I have about 8 to 10 subscribers that hit me up and asked me for the part number for this, and they bought them for their cars. So keep in mind, not all of these things are made the same. The shafts, even if you get the Dorman one or whatever brand name one, it's still Chinese stuff. So they're not, let's just say, precision 100% always they're going to be the same thing. With that, some vehicles you might not have to extend it. I've seen dudes with Blazers that just put them in and the extended length was plenty enough. So we're at a point now, it's installed. It is completely bolted in. So what y'all saw me doing on this side is the clamp opens up. There's nothing to clamp that to because from the factory the bolt went through the actual shaft. Instead of the bolt being on the outside like this, it went through the center. So what I did was put a tack weld on the end of that shaft coming out of there, which you can't really see it. That way it can't fall off. I did not weld to the joint of the actual steering. I welded to the steering column shaft. That way when that bolt is in there and it's tight, it can't come off. And I also put a divot in the end of the steering shaft on the car so that bolt, when it's tightened down, had a place to rest, like a little pocket to where it can't move. So that physically can't fall off of the car side. The other side bolted on perfectly fine. After I cut that little collar off that I spoke about with the bandsaw, the shaft extended enough. And what I just did was I put a little tiny bubble of a tack weld here on the steering box side to where if for whatever reason that bolt fell out and that thing started to scoot this way, it can't go any further this way to fall off. It's all a safety. We're basically redundancy here to where nothing can go wrong. And the little boot fits back on there. The shaft still travels in and out, which you want a little bit of travel. That way when the chassis is flexing, the shaft moves in and out without bottoming out or jamming the steering column into the car. So it's all back to working. It has the smallest amount of clearance right here, but that's okay because none of this stuff really moves. Like I said, it'll move in and out. It doesn't move up and down. So now we got to move on to something else, and that was like an hour or so and a half because I don't know, modifications, I guess. Well, let's try to maybe work on the shifting stuff, I guess. Kind of winging it. It's already like 11 o'clock and I'm extremely tired already. So let's see if we can get that to work. And then I'm going to call it a night and try to get out of here in the morning and get something done. So most cars have Prindle, park, reverse, neutral, and drive. Some of them also have Prindle and overdrive. This has Prindle, overdrive, drive, 2 and 1. What I'm talking about Prindle is park, reverse, neutral, drive, 2, 1. I don't care if 1 and 2 work. If we don't achieve that, my feelings are not going to be hurt. But we need at least park, reverse, neutral, and drive. We have... I lost it, apparently. Oh, it's right there. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. So, what we have here, this is the shift linkage. This is the shift linkage, the lever that actually connects to the trans. And this is the steering column. Since we've lowered the firewall, this no longer lines up with this. If I just threw this on there, where it would go directly on and not be a problem, the car would be in drive all the time, or neutral all the time. So what I need to do is raise this up to here. That's that 2.5 inches that we'd body dropped it. I need this eyelet to match up with this shaft up here. Not positive if I want to weld to this or leave that there and make a bracket. I'd rather not cut this off just in case this doesn't work, but I gotta figure that out. This is weird. I'm taking it as a good sign. I'm going inside and I'm going to bed. Normally, everything is a struggle when it comes to anything that has to do with any of these projects. And this is the only time I feel that this just went okay. I'll show y'all first. Come into the car. We got park, reverse, neutral, drive, 1, 2. Okay. The linkage, I don't have the cotter pin in there yet, is inside of this, where it's supposed to be. And I didn't have to modify anything. Chevrolets, I say it all the time, They're like Legos. Chevrolets, well, it makes me sound kind of off. I mean, it still proves a point. I have an S10 Pitman arm on here. There's like, it has the same calipers that go on a 68 Chevelle. Like, there's a lot of things are interchangeable, and they're so sloppy and interchangeable that they have an adjustable, which I came down here to remove it because I didn't think there was enough adjustment in there. This right here is the shift linkage. That's the other end of what we just messed with. You can see, why's my light so shiny or bright? That makes it hard to see. If you see the shiny spot right here, that's where the linkage was tightened. All I did was loosen that and slide the rod down and tighten the bolt back up. And that's all the modification that you need to make your shift linkage work in your 87 Chevy Caprice after you body drop it. I'm going to bed. Alright, I talked myself out of it. Oh, it's the next day. I talked myself out of running a shroud. We're just going to wing it, and we'll see what happens. And then that's later on projects, because it's easy enough to pull the radiator back out later on. It comes with these things that are made to put that fan, which that fan's a Flexolite brand. They want you to mount to the radiator, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to mount that to the radiator. We're going to find all of the bolts that hold that on, put the radiator in, lines, and go forward from there. I had removed the hoses from 1987 that were still on here. I need to splice this and put a T in because this is a factory intake and it has a coolant line going to the back of the block. So this needs to connect to here. And wiring. So that's what we're going to start with. And we're going to cut up the factory inner fenders and put those back in because it's supposed to rain next week. Which isn't the greatest thing, but we're still going. Doesn't matter. It says to use a screwdriver. Or can't you just... What's the difference between pushing it through and the screwdriver through? Oh, I'm trying to push it through the foam thing too. Yeah, right?
Yes.
One of them. Maybe even two of them.
If it leaks, I hope it's one of the ones you put in.
Well,
Obviously,
there's no fluid that travels through those fins. It's only on the high ridges, or the thick boys. Road conditions. Perfect.
They wouldn't be this way.
Yeah, whatever. You never know what we're getting into. It's gonna break. Cross thread's better than no thread. That's that West Virginia Loctite. It's still tightening.
That's why
That'll never come out of there.
that's why the threads are so screwed up. I'm glad you painted this right.
Me too.
Makes it somewhat presentable under here.
It does. Even though it's been unpresentable for so long.
Came out of the woods. What do you expect?
I don't know, I did dress up the engine when I first did it. Like, the engine looked really good. It's just everything around the engine looked like crap. Kind of thinking I'm going to just shorten this up, and whatever I get is what I get. Because I don't really have any choices. And hopefully it doesn't get mushed under the hood. And if it is mushed, hopefully it's not that bad. Let's start with something like this, I guess. It's a little high, but looks pretty good. It'd be nice if that part was a little bit longer, and it would be in front of the radiator shroud. Would that really matter if it was getting mushed? I don't think so. That's what we're going with. Do the same thing down here, and again, hope for the best. Alright, Justin and I managed to kind of waste some time, but it's cool. You have that, even though we were on a deadline. If I don't waste time, I get extremely distracted, ADD wise. But we went to O'Reilly's and Lowe's, and I don't know where else. But I got an adapter. 7-Eleven. Oh, so I throw it on the ground. Hopefully we can get that in there. That will go in there. So this will take care of our tea. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the help section, but the help section helps. It's very nice. So that's where that came from. I can't find my speed nuts, clip nuts, whatever you want to consider them. These little guys, which is how the radiator support is held together with this thing, but the ones that came off of it were broken. I got concentrated coolant, 2 other gallons of coolant, some ATF, and in the mail, a couple gauges came in. I got a voltmeter and a coolant temperature sensor. Like I told Justin when he asked about oil pressure, and I don't need that kind of negativity in my life, so we're not going to look at it. We're just going to ignore it. I've never looked at it. I don't know what it is. It is a very simplified motor, and the check engine light in this car, I'm pretty sure I just took the bulb out because this was an electronic carb quadrojet. Terrible thing. Always had a light. I'm pretty sure I just unplugged it or took the bulb out. But got a couple mounts, a couple gauges, fan relays. So we're piecing it together. It wasted a little bit of time, but we got things that we needed while we were doing said wasting. So I'm going to try and get these hoses plumbed. Maybe we'll try and put some coolant in it. That's the plan. One more thing. Whenever your buddy comes over and you're trying to show him how low the car got after the body drop, make sure there's nothing underneath the car. Heard some crunching noises. It's cool. I'll try and transfer it into another bucket. This is seam sealer, and it didn't open, so it's good until the next time I need it. It's pretty bad. I wasn't excited about this being a plastic fitting, but it is meant for coolant, so I'm not too worried about it.
Oh, yeah. I've used those a few times. They're fine.
Yeah, it's similar to the one that is on the Chevys.
Plus this thing runs at what, 160, 180?
Yeah, we hope so. That's what we're going for. It's perfect, though. It fits exactly on there. So, help section helps again. Hey, remember when I just said we just got back from the store? Well, we just got back from the store again. So, if you've been around, you understand my garage is constantly hectic because there's so many things going on, and then, taking on new hobbies like little toy cars and being a grown child. So, I bought one of these. If you own old junk, this is something good to know. I've always owned old junk. And if you ever had a heater core go bad, like the 3 times that I put one in my Lincoln, this can save you from calling a tow truck, which usually I don't think I've ever called a tow truck, but roadside repair. So if you blow out your heater core in your old piece of crap car, you can loop it in the engine bay with something like this. Even on new cars, still the same concept. Just a U that you get from the parts store. They're in the help section, which I don't know where the box went. I was going to show you the box. But it's a U, comes with a couple different fittings to fit large and small size radiator hoses. We are going to use this inside the car to make it look like we have a heater core for now, because I don't have enough time to put that heater box in and get it working. So this is going to go in here onto the inlet and outlet of the heater lines that are coming in from the radiator and the engine, just like that. I'm gonna throw some hose clamps on it. I'm probably gonna shorten it up. I just cut them to length, or cut them to a generic length. Yeah, so we just ran to the store because I got getting distracted. If you've been here for a while, you understand that my garage is crazy and I constantly lose everything because of that, even though I'm trying to organize it. I bought that kit for my Lincoln, to keep in my Lincoln, because the Lincoln has had 3 heater cores put into it, and I put it in the back of the Lincoln. I could bet all the money I have that I put it in the back of the Lincoln, and it's not there. I was going to use that, couldn't find it, so we went to the store and bought another one. So now, again, we can put this together, and now we can put coolant in it. So I showed this previously, I think on the Mazda. I tried to show it on the Ranger, but the Ranger didn't work out because the coolant system's messed up on that truck. This is a vacuum fill coolant filler. I don't know the exact name. I don't know where the box went either, but it's very straightforward. We're gonna make a mess. Gallon of water. And then, yeah, gallon of concentrated coolant. Brief explanation real quick of what this is. This is drawing a vacuum on the entire coolant system. We're at about 28-ish in whatever vacuum is measured in. This is how much vacuum is on the system. All of the hoses are collapsed. Like, look how thin this is. It's like comical. It's weird how it works. So I'll let this sit for a few minutes. This is the part where we got messed up on the Ranger because it leaked back out because the cooling system wasn't 100%. So the reason that I do this, especially on a body drop truck, anytime that you're draining or anytime you're filling coolant on something, you always want your radiator cap to be the highest point in the system, because if you don't, it'll create pockets of air in the entire system. That's why you always see the coolant reservoirs on like big trucks are above everything, but they don't have a radiator cap, is because air bubbles get trapped in the system. This, now that the engine is 3.5 inches higher than it used to be when it was new, like when the car was stock, and the radiator is now 2.5 inches lower than it used to be, that radiator cap is not the lowest point in the system, or highest point in the system anymore. It's now the lowest point in the system, so it'll create problems. This vacuum takes away that possibility. I don't know if all that makes sense, but you'll see in a minute. So this end looks a little inappropriate, but it has some weights on it.
I can see you.
So the weights keep it in the bucket. So as soon as you turn this lever, it pulls the coolant from the jug and fills the entire system. I don't know if you can actually see it expand. We are 100% to the top. We did not have to pour anything with a spout or with a jug or anything, and there should be no air in the system at all because we pulled a vacuum on it and removed all the air and filled that void with coolant. So the reason that I use these, and I use it at work all the time, we have tow behind air compressors that are similar in size to like a single wide trailer home, and they have radiators in them that are just under 7 feet tall and 5 feet wide. I use these to fill that entire radiator out of a 55-gallon drum, and it does the same thing. I don't have to pour anything. Just forklift the drum up next to the radiator, full of vacuum on it, and wait. These things are awesome. You can buy them on Amazon. This is from a tool truck. I've never bought an Amazon one, so I can't really speak on them, but they save so much time and headache. Because if you've ever been through the situation of having air pockets trapped in coolant system, it's terrible. You will fight it and fight and fight it. If I didn't have this today, I would have to jack this car up in the front 3 feet at least to get the coolant system to burp. Terrible. These are awesome. So the more I think about it, the more I definitely need inner fenders. On the passenger, or actually on the driver's side, this harness, unless I extended it and ran it across that frame rail, and there's moving parts and heat and all that, I don't want to do that. I don't want to rock zip ties. It would be easier if it can just be mounted back to the inner fender. The hood cable pop runs on the inner fender. Plus, it's going to rain at Mini Nats. It rained last year. It torrential downpoured last year, like tsunami for like 20 minutes, and then the sun came out. I really hope that's what happens. It'd be really nice if we didn't. Here we go. Knock on wood. That's what we're hoping for. If it does rain, it's only for a little bit. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to jinx it. So I have the factory inner fenders. These have been trimmed a lot. They were huge. They were huge. Like all of this was all inner fender, and I cut it when I first lowered the car, but now that control arm is 2.5 inches closer to it. So all of this needs to go. We removed the inner lip of here by hammering it. It's flat last week. So everything from here over needs to go, and everything from here over here needs to go. I just want a small inner fender just to stop mud and, or not mud, but water and everything from slinging on to all of everything. So we're going to cut these. Again, really skinny this time. So this is the mounting points on the inner fender. Kind of thinking we're going to lose everything beyond that. That way there's no way it comes in contact with the wheel. But we want to leave everything on this side. Let's start out with this and see where we go from there. This hole's still there, that mounting hole is still there, and the tire stops like somewhere up here. Something like that. And we're just gonna go for square. We're gonna go for little skinny guy. Straight back. Perfectly straight crooked cut. And then we lost this mounting hole. So let's say, let's just keep this train going back here. Maybe something like that. Keeps the mud out of getting caught up in the frame rail. I keep saying mud for some reason as if I'm going off-road in this car, which doesn't make any sense. But you know what I mean. so nice when you listen to me. Don't scratch the candy paint. Dad's gonna be pissed. Well, it's the next day, and we are back out here. Left off yesterday with getting the inner fenders tied up, and I did the coolant, put power steering fluid in it, and I've been going over wiring this morning. I haven't really recorded anything because it's just me trying to figure out what I need and what I don't need. So I've been out here for a few hours, sifting through stuff. I've managed to remove old speaker wire, the rear defrost, it's never worked, another random harness for cruise control. There's a lot of little things. I have a subscriber that helped me out this morning, sent me some screenshots, or sent me some pictures of his like Chilton manual and the underneath of his Caprice. I'm gonna put his name up on there so I don't mispronounce stuff and sound stupid, but thank you. And I am going to continue to do wiring. I think we're gonna knock out some more sound deadener today. That way tomorrow, because I took this week off to try to get this done, so I can try to make this thing drivable in 4 days. Again, this is what we're looking like. Like, I still want to extend my tailpipes out, so they've been like that for like 5 years. But if you're sitting still in traffic, it's pretty terrible, and especially if we are potentially going to get rain, we're going to have the windows up. The exhaust tends to creep back in the car with the side pipes like that. So I need to come up with a little kick out. I still have to cover up the notches in the rear. We cut that out to let the body lower down around them. Still have to figure that out. That doesn't necessarily have to be done to drive it. I would like to have some kind of a notch cover, so this week I need to come up with something for that. There's a lot of little stuff, but I'm going to do some sound deadener real quick. Again, it's very time consuming. If I get the sound deadener done and that completely out of the way and everything cleaned out the interior, I'm going to take the steering wheel off because I have the new slightly smaller steering wheel to put on there. Just because, again, the seat is 2.5 inches closer to the steering wheel than it used to be. So any kind of gain in leg room will be nice. I'm going to get the steering wheel on, or steering wheel off, dashboard in, steering wheel back on. I can set the seat in, and you see where we're going with this. There's a lot of things in this process, and we're just going to get after it because I'm already rambling, and this video is pretty long already. Alright guys, I am done for the day. It's a lot of like just going over and wires and trying to figure out exactly what everything does and what I don't need was the majority of the day, and the rest of the day was getting this installed. Of course, there's nothing in the dash, but the dash is in, the steering wheel is on. This is an inch smaller in diameter than the factory wheel. I set the seat in here. I move the seat back with my power probe. I don't remember if this seat goes up and down. I kind of think it does. Hopefully it goes down a little bit more. I do fit. It's a little tall. The seats in this thing are rough, so maybe it'll end up getting something different later on. It's not uncomfortable. it just feels like you're sitting up really high inside the car, which you are. But my head's not close to the ceiling, and it's comfortable, so it's drivable at that point. Again, we're still chipping away at this wiring. Still got to fix some things, get some things routed, but overall, probably the most progress we've had in a weekend since I cut the floor. It's pretty good, but I am out of time. Check back in next Sunday to see if either the car is on the trailer or the Mazda's on the trailer. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. It's vacation time, so whatever happens, happens. We'll see if we can get the car. I'm going to push really hard to get the car done. Like I said, I got this week off, which gives me 3.5 days off of work to try to get this buttoned up. Motivation is the hardest part. There's not a whole, there's a lot of work to do. Not a ton of work, just staying on track. And I need to do some house stuff because this is literally my vacation time. So I'm going to try and juggle some house stuff, which I'm going to turn the camera off and go mow the grass tonight and do some other house things. And this. So yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check back in next week to see what we take to mini nets. And hopefully, again, praying for good weather, and we're showing up regardless. So either we'll be towing something down or riding down there in James' daily driver. Who knows? Either way, I'll be there. My buddies will be there. And hope to see y'all there. Alright guys, I am done for the day. It's a lot of just going over wires and trying to figure out exactly what everything does and what I don't need was the majority of the day, and the rest of the day was getting this installed. Of course, there's nothing in the dash, but the dash is in, the steering wheel is on. This is an inch smaller in diameter than the factory wheel. I set the seat in here. I move the seat back with my power probe. I don't remember if this seat goes up and down. I kind of think it does. Hopefully it goes down a little bit more. I do fit. It's a little tall. The seats in this thing are rough, so maybe it'll end up getting something different later on. It's not uncomfortable. It just feels like you're sitting up really high inside the car, which you are. But my head's not close to the ceiling, and it's comfortable, so it's drivable at that point. Again, we're still chipping away at this wiring. Still got to fix some things, get some things routed, but overall, probably the most progress we've had in a weekend since I cut the floor. It's pretty good, but I am out of time. Check back in next Sunday to see if either the car is on the trailer or the Mazda's on the trailer. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. It's vacation time, so whatever happens, happens. We'll see if we can get the car. I'm going to push really hard to get the car done. Like I said, I got this week off, which gives me 3.5 days off of work to try to get this buttoned up. Motivation is the hardest part. There's not a whole, there's a lot of work to do. Not a ton of work, just staying on track. And I need to do some house stuff because this is literally my vacation time. So I'm going to try and juggle some house stuff, which I'm going to turn the camera off and go mow the grass tonight and do some other house things. And this. So yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check back in next week to see what we take to mini nets. And hopefully, again, praying for good weather, and we're showing up regardless. So either we'll be towing something down or riding down there in James' daily driver. Who knows? Either way, I'll be there. My buddies will be there. And hope to see y'all there.